intentional trips, hair yanks, elbows to the face, and an eye poke that almost sparked a riot. The WNBA is becoming more physical than ever before, and some players are going too far in the direction of dirty plays rather than gritty basketball. The 10 dirtiest WNBA players are listed here, ranging in severity from somewhat hostile to downright vicious. We're dissecting every play-by-play, from Caitlin Clark's rivals to serial offenders who top the league in egregious fouls. On the list, who is at the top? Stay put. You're not prepared for the top spot. Angel Reese, number 10. The Chicago Sky's Angel Reese comes in at number 10. And everyone was talking about this one. Reese was given a flagrant 1 foul during the tense game against the Indiana Fever after colliding with Caitlin Clark's head on a block attempt. When you slow down the play, you can clearly see Reese's follow-through catch Clark square in the head. The action looked intense in real time. Supporters immediately divide into 2 groups. While some claimed the contact was reckless and dangerous, others claimed Reese was simply working hard and making a basketball play. Following the game, Reese clarified that she was aiming for the ball at all times and that hitting Clark's head was not deliberate. She even made a joke about how frequently the video will be shown again, stating, "You guys are going to play that tape 20 times before to Monday." Remarkably, Caitlin Clark concurred with Reese's justification. According to Clark, she was aware that Angel wasn't being nasty and was merely attempting to make a move with the ball. Actually, Clark had a straightforward focus at the time. "Have 2 free shots to make. That's the only thing on my mind. The thing is this. The referees generally made the correct decision. Any unwarranted head contact, even if it happens by accident, is automatically considered a blatant one. However, this wasn't done with evil purpose. Reese enjoys the wicked character and relishes in the mayhem. She is more feisty than blatantly filthy, though, in contrast to the other people on this list. Speaking of physical plays, the 9th one entails a player who actually knocked out a tooth with his elbow. The Las Vegas Aces' Chelsea Gray, a point guard renowned for her exceptional vision, tough defense, and unrelenting perimeter play, comes in at number 9. This season, however, her violent behavior went too far when Jade Melbourne was actually left with a shattered smile after being elbowed hard. In a fiercely contested game against the Washington Mystics, Chelsea and Melbourne collided during a drive, with Melbourne receiving a brutal elbow to the mouth. Melbourne had to leave the game for stitches after falling on the ground, bleeding. Fans later saw that she had returned to the bench with a portion of her front teeth missing. A startling picture that nearly immediately went viral. After watching the footage, the referees quickly called a flagrant infraction, but the online discussion went viral. Was the contact needless, or was Chelsea making a basketball play? While some pundits lauded her as a competitor vying for position, others contended that her drives and close-outs frequently put opponents in awkward positions. Chelsea's detractors feel she dances too close to risky behavior, while her supporters claim she feeds on physicality. One poor move can alter a game in a league where strength and speed are crucial. Melbourne's smile and the player's season became the iconic picture associated with Gray's name. Wait until you hear what happened when a player was poked in the eye and tempers suddenly erupted if you thought losing a tooth was awful. Dana Bonner of the Phoenix Mercury comes in at number 8. A seasoned player who is among the WNBA's hardest forwards due to her size, length, and interior dominance. However, physicality accompanies that strength. Additionally, things can quickly become messy when tempers flare. After bumping with Angel Reese during a box-out, Bonner found herself in the middle of mayhem in one of the most dramatic scenes of the season. Reese's hand made direct contact with Bonner's eye, instantaneously causing the veteran to collapse onto the hardwood. Her fiancée, Alyssa Thomas, barged in from across the court as Bonner clutched her face in agony, starting a heated argument that almost descended into a full-on fight. It was necessary to separate the players. Refs went over the sequence, and fans discussed if Reese's interaction was unintentional or deliberate. This event demonstrated how tense things can get around her, even though Bonner wasn't the one who started it. Tension is frequently raised by her physical presence, and when she is there, emotions swiftly erupt. In the paint, where he competes for position against some of the strongest post players in the league, Bonner's game depends on being disruptive. She is in constant danger of clashes like this one because of that edge, which also makes her dominant. Although she wasn't solely to blame, Bonner is unavoidably on this list given her history of high-contact incidents. Furthermore, with relation, the following player didn't simply collide. They made deliberate contact. She surprised Caitlin Clark with one of the season's dirtiest hits. Kennedy Carter of the Chicago Sky, a guard whose speed and inventiveness make her a nightmare opponent, is ranked number 7. However, this season she has garnered notice for all the wrong reasons. Her contentious assault on Caitlin Clark solidified her place here and turned into one of the year's most talked about moments. Long before Clark ever touched the ball during an inbound play, Carter surprised her with a forceful shoulder check that sent the Fever racing. Newbie who falls on the ground. Despite the referees calling an away from the ball foul right away, fans and commentators went crazy on the internet, wondering if the play was deliberate. Without holding back, Shannon Sharpe accused Carter of direct targeting and called it Bush League. Kennedy declined to comment on the foul after the game, which only served to stoke rumors. While some claimed she was aggressively defending the lane, others interpreted it as resentment toward one of the most talked about rookies in the league. The problem with Carter is a pattern rather than a single play. Since joining the Atlanta Dream, she has dealt with a number of suspensions and altercations in the locker room that under her erratic personality. Even though she is incredibly gifted and capable of being an offensive spark plug, these incidents overshadow her potential and keep her in the news for all the wrong reasons. However, the next athlete on this list went viral for something even more obvious than Carter's shoulder check, which caused debate. Purposefully tripping her opponent by sticking out a leg mid-crossover. The Los Angeles Sparks' Kelsey Plum comes in at number 6. Additionally, if you've watched the video, you already understand her purpose. When Dallas guard Veronica Burton crossed Plum up so severely during a heated game, Kelsey became enraged and stuck out her leg, tripping Burton in the middle of the drive. Slow-motion replays captured every moment of the play, even though it happened quickly. Burton landed hard on the ground, leaped back up right away, and positioned himself in Plum's face, prepared to fight. Dirkica Hamby, a forward for AC, intervened and shoved Plum back, defusing the situation before it got out of hand. Fans, however, weren't so quick to go on. Comparisons abound on social media, with Plum being dubbed the WNBA's Grayson Allen, referring to the NBA guard who has a reputation for dirty moves. There was minimal discussion over intent after the referees examined the situation and raised the penalty to a flagrant. After the game, Plum justified herself by saying it was instinct, but analysts disproved her claim. This was not a position that was naturally defensive. After being defeated on the crossover, it was revenge. This stands out because of how well thought out it appears. Although Plum is undoubtedly competitive, incidents like this can harm a company's brand quickly, particularly if they become viral. Even though it's not cool to stick out your leg, our next player's fight descended into mayhem when she poked the arena in the eye, sending everyone on edge. The season's most talked about moment, JCS Sheldon's contentious eye poke at Caitlin Clark during the Fever Sun game, comes in at number 5. This was no ordinary foul. It turned into the catalyst for a flurry of discussions throughout the league. During the third quarter, Clark was working off a screen close to the above the key. Sheldon made a concerted effort to remain attached. Her hand raised and seemed to stab Clark in the eye as the two became entangled. Clearly in discomfort, Clark grasped her face right away and paused down for a few poses. From that moment on, the Connecticut Suns took over the game as the Fever's whole attack broke down. Replays in slow motion only made matters worse. It appeared to be either a careless swipe or a deliberate shot directed at Clark, depending on the viewpoint. Supporters exploded, with some demanding a blatant foul and others supporting Sheldon's physical protection. After reviewing the action, the officials declared it a common foul, a ruling that attracted a lot of criticism from fans of the Fever. Analysts are still split. Was Sheldon merely defending aggressively at the perimeter, Or has Clark started to get hit by unintentional contact all over the league? Regardless of its purpose, the play had an impact on Sheldon's reputation as well as Clark's. But for a completely opposite reason, the next player on this list has provoked controversy. An on-camera remark that sparked one of the largest disputes in the league. Brittany Gurrier of the Atlanta Dream, who comes in at number 4, is among the most dominating WNBA players. However, this season, her name has been linked to a number of contentious occurrences, including one that made the whole basketball community go crazy. Gurrier was accused of using a racial epithet toward Caitlin Clark during a nationally televised game versus the Indiana Fever, referring to her as a garbage white girl. It was captured by the microphones, and within minutes, it became viral on the internet. Patrick B. David and other analysts called for responsibility, claiming that instances such as these undermine the league's reputation. The outrage was exacerbated by the WNBA's initial silence. Although Gurrier hasn't responded to the remark publicly, many fans believe it to be a component of a larger problem, raising conflicts between well-known rookies like Clark and seasoned players. In addition to this incident, Gurrier has established herself as one of the league's most physically demanding inside defenders, frequently using her bulk to overwhelm opponents. Her style, according to critics, goes too far into risky territory, as evidenced by the numerous hard fouls that irritate both coaches and players. She plays to her strengths and takes in as much contact as she delivers, according to her supporters. However, the controversies have eclipsed her this season performance. Greener's remarks provoked indignation, but our next player's actions, literally, a chokehold that sent one of the WNBA's rising stars plummeting to the ground, left an even greater impression. One of the league's most physically imposing players, Alyssa Thomas of the Phoenix Mercury, is ranked number 3. However, her rough approach has garnered a lot of criticism. She is renowned for her ability to overwhelm opponents, fight non-stop on the boards, and turn every possession into a skirmish. However, one instance stood out above the others this season. During a game against